Hello guys and welcome to today's bootcamp. So in today's bootcamp what we are going to see database management systems and SQL. So in today's world data is very important for every organization or everyone. Data is considered to be an asset because you can work with asset and it's very important to you. So managing data and storing them efficiently is very important. For that purpose only we learn DSA, we learn DBMS and all this. So in today's video we are going to see DBMS. So if you are doing your graduation or post graduation as well, you might be having this subject. So we are going to see DBMS and we are going to use MySQL for this bootcamp. So let's get started with it. So first of all, let's see what is DBMS. So DBMS is a database management system and it is interrelated data, manual or computerized or online. So it is nothing but collection of interrelated data. Just think of it as collection of data. And why we use it? So there is a set of programs to access this data or manipulate this data. So DBMS provides an environment that is both convenient and efficient to use. Because of that, we use DBMS. So what are the application areas of DBMS? So in most of the sectors, we use DBMS. So there are banking, all transaction use DBMS, airline sectors, universities, sales, manufacturing, human resources. So all of these sectors use DBMS. So it is very important for us as an information technology individual to learn DBMS. So now let's see why do we use DBMS. So we use DBMS to avoid data redundancy and inconsistency which existed there in the manual data or traditional ways of storing data. So because of that we use DBMS to reduce your redundancy and inconsistency. Then there is difficulty in accessing data. So in your traditional ways where you used to keep it like in journal or notebook and everything else, so accessing of data becomes very difficult for us. So because of that purpose we use DBMS. Then there is to deal with data isolation, multiple files and formats. Then there is the deal with integrity problems. So we want to make our data integrity very powerful, that because of that we use DBMS. Then there is atomicity updates, then concurrent access by multiple users and security problems and much more. So because of all these reasons we use DBMS. So now let's see relational model. What is relational model? So relational model is nothing but storing your data in a tabular format. So if you try to remember in your school or college, you might be storing your data in tabular format, like all of the students roll number is in one column, like your name is in another column. So we store our data in tabular format. So that is your relational model only. So now let's see what by this diagram you can see logically related database. So what do I mean by logically related databases? So see over here. So assume we have a customer table over here. So in customer table we have multiple columns like customer ID, customer name, the street of the customer and customer city. So these are the four columns that we have in customer table. Then we have our account table. So in account table what do we have? We have account number and balance. So we have these two columns. Then there is another table which is the depositor table. So in this we use customer ID for customer from customer table and your account number from account table, and by making these two columns we make another table which is depositor table. So this is known as logically related database. So these tables are interrelated with each other. So which are the database users that exist in the system? Which are application programmers which interact with system through DML calls. Then there is sophisticated users, specialized users and naive users. So now let's see what's an database administrator. So database administrator is someone who coordinates all the activities of the database system. So he has a good understanding of enterprise's information resource and needs. So database administrator has many responsibilities which are like schema definition, storage structure and access method definition, schema and physical organization modification, granting user authority to access the database, specifying integrity constraints, acting as liaison with users, monitoring performance and responding to changes in the requirements. So these are your administrator's responsibility. So we'll see each and every one of them. So what is your schema definition? So schema is nothing but the structure of your table, how your data is stored in your tabular format. So the administrator makes this schema. So we have to make the schema first, then we make our table. Then administrator also manages storage structure and access method definition. So the storage structure, so how the data is stored in your tabular format, that is managed by your administrator. Then schema and physical organization modification is also managed by your administrator only. Then there is integrity constraints. So as an database administrator, the programmer has to put integrity constraint into your data. So that is also the responsibility of administrator only. So now let's move on to the next topic. So there is transaction management. So a transaction is a collection of operations that performs a single logical function in a database applications. So it is pretty much self-explanatory. So transaction management components ensures that the database remains in a consistent state. So also even after the a failure, your data is consistent. So that is meant over here. Concurrency control manager controls the interaction among the concurrent transaction to ensure the consistency of database. So our data has to be consistent. So this is your overall system structure. You can have a look over here. So now let's move on. So now let's see the application architecture of DBMS. So there are mainly two architecture. The first one is two-tier architecture and one is three-tier architecture. So in the two-tier architecture, there is user applications, then there is network, and then there is the database system. So it is as known as two-tier architecture. So first tier is in the first tier there is user and applications, which connects with database system through network only. Then there is three-tier architecture. So in that there is one more layer, which is application server, which is add onto the database system. Correct. So in the three-tier architecture, there is user, there is application client, then there is network, application server, and then database system. So that is known as your three-tier architecture. You can see over here via diagram. So now let's start with your SQL. All of you must wonder that what is SQL and how you can use it. So your SQL is nothing but your structured query language. So you can pronounce it as SQL also or SQL also. It's up to you. Doesn't matter. So SQL is your structured query language, which consists of mainly two languages, which is data definition language and data manipulation language. So what is a data definition language? So it allows us to create, alter, and delete tables and data into your tables. And what is data manipulation language? So in data manipulation, we insert, delete, and modify tuples in your table. So tuples are nothing but records. We'll see in a bit what are tuples. So SQL is widely used and it's non-procedural language. So like to find some data, we use select, we use where clauses, we use multiple clauses to extract our data and manipulate our data. So this is your table, which this is how it looks in your RDBMS. So the, over here you can see your product is your table name. This blue are your attribute names, which you can say as column headings. And these are your records, or you can say tuples. So these are your tuples. Tuples are nothing but your records, which you store in your table. So steps to define your schema is, first we define table name and its attributes. So your attributes are your column headings. So like you can say product is your table name, and then these are your attributes. We'll use attributes only. Then there you have to specify your data types of your attributes. So we'll see what are the basic and main data types that are available in SQL. So first one are numeric data types, which are integer. So to use integer, we can use int, or you can say you can use small int or big int. To use floating point, you can use double, float, or real. There are also character strings. Uh, to use characters, we can use char, or we can use varchar. So in varchar, you can use characters and numbers both, and in the char data type, you can only store characters. Then there is boolean data type, in which you can store true or false. Then there is date data type, in which you can store your date. There is timestamp, to store your timestamp. These are your steps to define the uh, schema of your table. So then there comes the constraints which you can put on your table. So constraints are nothing but restriction which you put on your table. So you want your data to be uh, of some sort of some type only. So let's say if you are storing your roll number into one column, so you want to store numbers only, and it is a mandatory column, so data can't be null. So you put constraint over there. So these are your some constraint which you can use in SQL. So that is not null. So the column must be consisting of some value. It can't be null. Then there is default value. Then you can use your check clause. Then you can use unique clause. We'll see each and every one of them. Then you can use primary key. So this clause is very important. So primary key is used to uniquely identify your records. So let's say you are studying in some college. So in college you must have your roll number or some kind of identification number. So via this identification number you differ from every other student. So let's say my name is Jay, and there are two more Jay in my class. So but our roll numbers are different. So from these roll numbers we are separated by each other. So for this purpose we use primary key in our tables to uniquely identify your records. So primary key, every table must contain a primary key. It is not mandatory, but it is meant to be used. And primary can't be null, and it has to be unique only. So this is will make our product table, and will define its schema. So our product table consists of product name, then there is price, there is category, and we have put a check constraint over here, and we'll use it. So first of all, let's download the tools which are needed to work with your MySQL. So you can go onto your browser, search for MySQL download. So as soon as you search for it, you can go on the first link, MySQL downloads. And from over here, you can try this free version, or you can go to the installer directly. And from over here, you can download it. So according to your system, download any version that you want to. So while downloading, make sure that you are installing the correct version for Windows, or let's say Mac. So if you are on Mac, download for the Mac, and if you are on Windows, download for Windows only. And while downloading, make sure that they will ask you for a password. So make sure to remember that, because we'll need it in the future. So after downloading, you'll get a workbench of MySQL. So go on and click on that. So after downloading, you'll get an interface which looks something like this. So this is our local instance of our MySQL. So this is working on my local host, and it is working on the port 3306. So you can click on this and see. So from over here, you can use your MySQL now. So MySQL provides you the visualization. So which is very important, so which makes your work very easier. So from over here you can see your databases, you can create some new database, you can work with queries over here. So why are we using this MySQL is because it's easy to use and you can do multiple work with MySQL only. So because of that purpose, we use MySQL. So in I like to work with, as a coder, I like to work with terminal. So I'll open my MySQL command line client. So from over here also you can work with your MySQL, and from over here also you can work with your MySQL. But in here the issue is only that you have to run single queries at a time. Although you can write multiple queries, you have to select some queries and run it. And in the terminal you can write your commands directly over here. So I prefer to use command line client only. It's up to you what you want to use, it doesn't matter. So let's move on now. Yeah, so let's start with our coding part. So let's start. So first of all, to use, let me make it big. Okay, so first of all, what is a database? So database is a, as we saw, database is somewhere we store our data, correct? So first of all, to use a database we have to create a database, correct? So for that purpose, let's create a database. So to create a database, your syntax is create and your database name. So let's say we want to create practice, or let's say product. Yeah. Okay, so let's first see which are the databases which are available in my system. These are some databases which are available in my system. So to see that, you can write show databases, and from over here you can see which are the all the databases available in my system. So now let's move on and create a new database. Let's say product. So to create a database, you can use create database and then your database name, correct? So I prefer you to work with me only. So you can go on to your MySQL command line client and start writing your queries. So via using this query, you can create your database, correct? So let's move on. Now that we have created our database, we'll now want to use our database which we have just created now. So to use a database, we can use and then your database name, correct? So we can say use and let's say product, correct? So note over here that MySQL is not case sensitive. So uppercase use and small case use both are same. You can use any one of them. So now that we are in the product database, correct? Then which are the tables which are available in your database? To see that, you can use show tables, correct? So currently we haven't any created any tables, so it will not show us anything. So let's say show tables. So it is showing us the empty set, correct? Why it is showing us the empty set? Because we haven't created any tables yet, correct? Let's move on now. Now let's create a table. So how you can create a table in your MySQL is, so to create a table, the syntax is create table. Then you have to provide for your table name, and then as we saw how you can define your schema, you have to give your attributes name. Sorry, you have to give your attributes name and its data types, correct? So over here what we are going to create, So we are going to create a table of product, and we are going to give your attribute list, data type, and any constraint that we want to give. Correct? So in this table, we are going to give attributes like p name, which is the data type of varchar and which is your primary key. Correct? Then we can use price, uh, which has the data type of float, then category of varchar, and manufacturer. Correct? So now let's see the query, how it looks. So you can create a table. So create table product, then the attribute. Correct? Then what is the next thing that we have to put is, we forgot to put a parenthesis over here, and the next thing is manufacturer, and then put a semicolon. So this is showing us query okay, 0 rows affected. So your table has been created now, and your table is put into your product database, and the table name is product only. Correct? So what we have done over till now is, we have created a table which has the name of product, and we have put some attributes in it, which is p name, which is primary key, then there is price, which is float, we have put category, and we have put a check constraint in it, then we have the manufacturer. Correct? Now let's move on. Now let's see the show tables once again. So now you can see your name of the table over here, that you have created the product table. Correct? Now let's see that what is the, you know, the schema of your table. To see that, you can use description command. So the syntax is DESC and your table name. So over here you can see the schema of your table. So the first is the field, which is nothing but your attributes. So we have the attributes like p name, price, category, and manufacturer. Then we have the data type over here. So we can see the data types like varchar, float, and varchar. Correct? We'll also see other data types. Then there is null. So it is showing us that it can hold null values or not. So your p name cannot hold any null value. Why? Because we have made it the primary key. It's uniquely identifiable. So it must be unique and it can't be null. Then price also cannot store null values. Why? Because we have specified the constraint as not null over here. Then in the key part, we have given the primary key to p name only, so it is showing us pri. Then it is showing us the default values, so we haven't provided any default values yet, so it is showing us null. And in extra, if we give any constraint, it comes into the extra part. Correct? So this is how you can see the schema of your table. Correct? Now let's insert some records into your table. So to insert records, what you can use is, you can use insert command. Correct? So now that you have created a table, you must input some tuples or records into your table. Correct? So to do that, you can use insert command. So via using insert command, you can put some records into your table. So to use that, you can write insert, insert, insert into, and your table name, which is product. Correct? Now you can specify your attributes over here. So let's say p name, price, category, and manufacturer. There is a spelling mistake over here, so keep that in mind. You have to provide the correct spelling only. Okay. Very bad spelling is over here. Then what you have to write is, you have to write values. So now that we want to insert some values into this attributes. Correct? So let's see some values. Let's take these values only. Gizmo, What we have put in check constraint? Gadget only, okay. Correct. So it is showing us query okay. So we have inserted our first record successfully. Correct. So what we did over here is we used insert into, then you have to provide your table name, which is product. Then you can provide your list of attributes. Then you have to specify values, and then you can insert values. So observe over here, we used varchar in pname. So to insert any string in MySQL, you have to use double quotes. Correct. So we have provided our value in double quotes. Correct. Then we have used a float data type over here. So to provide a float, we have to provide any decimal containing number. So we don't provide that in string because it is a number. Correct. Then again there are two varchar only, so we have provided it as string. Correct. So this is your first way to insert some data. Another way is you can not provide this list of attributes and you can directly specify the values. It will also insert, but the main but there is a major drawback over here which we'll see. So let's say we are inserting some values. Correct. So here it is working just fine. So what we did, we removed this list of attributes from over here. It is working just fine. But when you try to do something like this, let's say you are not providing the list of attributes over here and you are trying to insert some data. Let's say you do something like this. You are providing your number first, price first, then you are providing some other value. You are doing something like this. Correct. So originally our table is consisting of 4 columns, which is p name, price, category and manufacturer. And over here we are not providing the list of attributes and we are directly telling insert these values into your table. So it will give us an error. What will it give? So it will give column count does not match the value. So we have 4 columns in our table and we are providing the values for 3 only, and also that in not correct order. So it won't work. So to not to provide your attributes and to provide values, you have to provide the correct number of values only. So if there are 4 columns available in your table, you have to provide 4 values and in correct order only. Correct. So this is how you can insert your records. So let's insert some few more records. So what is single touch? So let's see how you can insert multiple records using single query only. So let's say you want to insert multiple values in single time, multiple tuples in single time. So what you can do is you can specify values. This is your first tuple, and to provide your second tuple, just put a comma over there and insert your second set of values. Let's say and then you can provide your semicolon over here. So what will it show? Query okay, 2 rows affected. Why? Because we are providing two tuple values over here. So this will be your first tuple value and this will be your second tuple value. Correct? So now if you see the schema of your table over here, let's see. We have the schema up above here. So we have put some constraint into your category, if you remember. So what we did is we put a check clause in your category attribute. So in category attribute we have put a check, and what we are checking for, so we are checking that your category must be of these three type only, so which is gadget, photography or household. So if you try to insert a category which is not one of these three, it will give you an error. So let's try to do that. So let's say over here I am just providing some spelling mistake, correct, and trying to enter it. So it is giving us the error that check constraint and giving us the name of that constraint. It is violated, correct? So it is telling us that you have provided some wrong category, provide a correct category please, correct? Then if you try to insert some null values, it will also give you an error. Why? Because null values are not uh, allowed in this price column. So see, it will give you an error. You have an error in your SQL syntax, correct? So you have to provide the value over here, correct? So now we have inserted some tuples into our table, correct? So let's move on. So now let's say, so till now what we have done, we have created a database, we have used the database, we have created a table, and we have inserted some records into our table. So next step is what? Now that we have inserted some data into a table, we want to see what data are available in my table. So to do that, what you can use is you can use select clause, correct? So to use select clause, what you can do is you can write select, then you can type asterisk from your table name, which is product. So it will show you the records of your table, correct? So what is happening over here? So select helps us to retrieve the data from your table. Asterisk will retrieve everything. Asterisk means everything in MySQL. So whenever you see asterisk, it means everything, correct? Then we are using from, which is a clause, and then we are giving the table name, correct? So this is how you can retrieve some data from your table, correct? So now I want to show you one more thing. So when we create a table, we'll create a dummy table right now. So let's say create table product 2. So let's say we are giving his ID, which is integer, correct, which is primary key. So now what I want to do is I don't want to insert ID every time into my table. So to do that, I want my computer that it will give the ID automatically every time I insert a record, correct? So to do that, you can use auto increment. So what will it do is it will automatically increment 1 in the ID column every time you insert a record, correct? So you can say create table product 2 ID integer, which is primary key and which is auto increment, and let's say p name varchar 20, let's say price. This is also a data type decimal which you can use. So now our table is created. You can see the description of the table, correct? So now let's try to insert some records into it. So over here, give the list of attributes. Let's say price of. Okay, so it is showing us query. Okay, one row affected. Let's input some more records, just dummy records to show you. And what does this mean? Decimal 10 to is we have to provide two decimal points till two decimal points. Right, let's see our data. So to retrieve data, what you can use, select star from product, which is your table name. So see over here, your ID is getting incremented automatically every time. This is a very important constraint over here, which is auto increment, which is the feature of MySQL. So you can use auto increment, and you can also put by how many you want to increment. You can put the number after this. So this is how you can create a tuple column which is auto incremented every time. You don't have to provide the values for it. Correct? So this was just for demonstration purpose only. We'll go to our previous table only. So what we did in our previous table, so we inserted some records. Let's print it over here. Select star from product. Correct? So these are our records that are currently available in my table. Correct? So let's say now we have retrieved all the data which is present in your table, right? So let's say I want to retrieve some specific data only. So let's say I want to retrieve a data product which has the name of gizmo only. So to do that, what you can use is you can use your where clause. Correct? So to do that, you can write select from uh, select asterisk from, was just a table name product. You can use your where clause where p name is equal to gizmo. So what will it do is it will give us every record which has the name of gizmo. Correct? So we have currently one record which has the product name of gizmo. Correct? So you can use a where clause like this. Correct? So let's insert one more record into a table. Let's say insert. Correct? Let's say some gizmo, and let's provide a value which is already available. 29.99 is already available. Let's insert this. Correct? So now we have two records which has the same price. So now let's say I want products which has the price of 29.99, every record which has the price of 29.99. To do that, you can use select star from product where price is equal to 29.99. Correct? So it is giving us the empty set. Why is that the case? There might be some internal issue over here. It should work just fine. Just giving us no worries, we'll move on. So let's move on to our next topic. So we have seen the selection process, how you can retrieve your data from your table. And we have seen how you can use your where clause. Correct? So now let's see your comparison operators. So let's say you can use something like this. Let's say above 100. So you can use your comparison operators like this. So what we want to do is, let's say we want every record which has a price which is greater than $100, correct? So to do that, what we can do is we can say select star from our table name where your price is greater than 100. So it will give us these two records. Why? Because these are greater than 100 only. Let's say we want products which has price less than 100. So just put a less than over here, correct? So we have three records for it. So this is how you can manipulate your data and retrieve it, correct? Now let's move on. So we have now let's see how you can put your multiple conditions over here, correct? So let's say I want a record which has price which is greater than 100, correct? And which has the category of household only, correct? So for that, what you can do, you can do select star from, you can say product, which is your table name, where uh, what is it, price is greater than 100, correct? And we want to put one more condition over here. So what you can say is and, correct? We want both the condition to satisfy. So for that, we have to use and, correct? So now what you have to say, category is equal to household. So now we'll get one record only, correct? So what it is checking, where price is greater than 100. So in that we have two records, and one more condition we are putting, like category equal to household only, correct? So this is how you can put multiple conditions over here, right? So when we use and is when we want that the both of the condition must satisfy, correct? Now we'll see or condition. So in or, and if any one of the condition satisfy, it will give us the output, correct? So let's say we want our records that have category of either household or photography. So for that, what you can do is, let's just select star from product where category is equal to household or category is equal to photography, correct? So see, it will give us two records. Why? Because it will check for either condition, correct? So if we have used and over here instead of or, it will give us empty set. Why? Because it will check if both the conditions are satisfying or not, correct? Let's move on now. So we have seen how you can combine multiple conditions. You can also use in over here. So we have already seen in. We'll see how you can use it in select now. So what we did was we used a check constraint, correct? If you remember, when we were creating a table, so we put a check constraint over here, and in check constraint we were checking for category in. So in check for a multiple records over here, so we can use in also, correct? So instead of using or, you can use in also. So let's say uh, this only, like I want my category to be either in household or either in photography, correct? So for that, you what you can do is you can write select star from product where category in, let's say, photography, or let's say we want gadget now. See, so it is giving us like your, if your category is in gadget or photography, so it will give you the output, correct? So instead of using or, you can also use in over here, correct? So now let's move on. So as I told you, it is case insensitive, so small select and capital select is same only, but your records are case sensitive, so Seattle in Seattle is different in your records, correct? So now let's see like operator. So by using like operator, what you can do is you can match any patterns. So uh, let's say I want any records which name starts from G only, correct? So to do that, what you can do is select star from product where p name like, so you can say, you can put percentage over here. So we'll see percentage, how you can use percentage. So let's say gizmo, right? So let's say G and percentage, correct? So what it is giving us is, so it will give us every record which has the starting letter G, correct? So let's say if I put percentage before G, so it will give us any record which has the ending letter as G, correct? So we don't have anything which has the ending letter is capital G, so it will give us the empty set. But we have two records which has the ending letter O, so we'll use that. So for this purpose, you can use your like operator. So what it is giving us is, it is doing the comparison. So it is checking if there is a p name which exists which has the O as your ending letter. So if you put percentage before, it will check for last, and if you put your percentage after, it will check for first, correct? So over here we put percentage after, so it is checking for every p name which has the starting letter is G, and over here it is checking for every p name which has the ending letter is O, correct? So this is how you can use your like operator. So you can use multiple characters also. It is not like that you can use a single character only. So let's say uh, we are having GET in gadget, correct? So let's say we want any record which has gizmo in it. So it is giving us three records. Why? Because all of these records have gizmo in their name. See over here. So this has gizmo in it, this has gizmo in it, this has gizmo in it, correct? So you can use this as words also. So it is checking if there is a p name which is consisting of gizmo in it, correct? So this is how you can manipulate and retrieve your data. Let's move on. You can use before and after. You can manipulate it as anything you want. So you can also check for single characters also. To use that, you can use underscore, correct? So there are many possibilities. I have put some of them over here. You can go and try it. So let's try a distinct statement right now. So what distinct does is, it will give us the, it will eliminate the duplicates in it, and it will give us the output, correct? So what we want to do is, we will do a select distinct category from product, correct? Let's just select distinct, So it is giving us the all the distinct category which are available in your table. So let's say we have multiple records which has gadget in it, correct? So but over here we are getting only the distinct one, correct? Let's see the records first so that you can get a clear understanding. See over here. So there are 1, 2 and 3 records which has the category of gadget in it, and we are selecting only distinct one. So it is giving us 3 distinct categories, which is gadget, household and photography, correct? Now let's move on. So now we'll see some aggregate functions which are available in your MySQL. So these are some functions that you can use, which is sum, max, min, average and count. It is self-explanatory. So sum returns you the sum of your column values. Then there is max, it will return the maximum amount. Min, which will return your minimum amount. Average will return you the average, and count will return the count of the numbers, correct? Let's go on and see every one of them. So let's say you want to print the sum of the price of all the products which are available in your table. For that, what you can do is select sum of price from product. So it is giving you the sum of all the values which are available in your table, correct? So now let's manipulate this a little bit more. So over here you can see your column heading as sum, and in brackets you can see price. So this is not very looking nice. So what you can do is you can give the alias name to your column over here, so it will print nicely. So what you can do is select sum price as, let's say, total from product. So now see over here, we are getting heading as total. So it looks nice. So you can give alias name also over here, and you can print your data, correct? Let's move on now. Now we'll see max. So let's say I want a record which has the maximum price of all of them. So for that, what you can do is let's say select asterisk comma max price from product. So it won't help use, let us use this. So we'll do something else like p name maximum price and category of it. Select p name max price category from product table. What is happening over here? Let's select one column only for now. Select max price from product, correct? So it is giving us the max price, maximum price. Let's give it alias name as maximum from product table, correct? So it is giving us the maximum. Yeah, you have to use a group by clause over here. We'll see it in a bit. So currently you don't know group by, so we'll not use that. Let's move on. So next function must be minimum. Yeah, so it is minimum. Let's see. So as the name suggests, it will return you the minimum amount of price. So let's say select minimum of price from your table name, correct? Let's move on. Next is average. You can also select your average of prices. It will give you the average, correct? Let's move on. Now also you can count the total number of records available in your table. So let's say select count. You can say asterisk also, I guess. Let's try this. Select count asterisk from product. Yeah, it is allowing us. So it will print the total number of columns available in your table. So we have 5 records available in a table currently. This is how you can get your total records. Let's move on. Correct. So we have seen all of this. Now you can we'll see order by. So why do we use order by is when we want to order a result in certain manner. So to do that we use order by. So let's say I want to select P name, price and manufacturer from my table name, where my manufacturer is GizmoWorks and price is greater than 50, and I want that it is order by price and P name only. Correct. You can also use ascending and descending. We'll also see that. So let's try that. Let's say select star from product, order by price. Let's say DESC first. Correct. So see over here, what we did is we selected all of the records which are available in your table. Correct. So for that, what we did, select star from table name. Correct. Then what we are doing, we are providing the order by clause. So in order by, what we are doing, we are giving your attribute name over here. So attribute name is price. Correct. And we are providing DESC. So what it means is I want that the records come in descending order of their price. So the biggest one will come first and the smallest one will come last. So this is giving us like this. So 203 is the biggest, then 129, 29, 29 and 19. Correct. So if you use order by without using this DESC, it will come in ascending order only. So remove this, it will give you in ascending order only. Correct. So this is how you can use order by. Correct. So let's see what we have seen till now. So we have seen how you can create a database, how you can create tables, how you can insert record, how you can manipulate your data, and how you can print your data. So we have seen all this. Correct. Let's move on. So let's say we want to find this particular result. So for that purpose, what we have to do is we have to use select query with distinct statement, which we currently saw, and we can use order by. Correct. So you can go on and try these queries. Note this down somewhere. This is for your assignment. You can do and go and do this assignment, and I'll provide you some with some practice exercise. So before coming into the next video, you can try this exercise and then come, so it will be better for you. So create a new table which has the schema which looks something like this. Note everything down and insert these particular records. Correct. And these are the SQL queries which you have to write. So first one is list all the details of companies. Then you have to list the registration date of all companies. Then you have to use some aggregate functions, and then you have to use your like clause. Correct. So these are your assignment queries. So before coming into the next video, I suppose I request you to do all of these queries, so it will be beneficiary to you. So I hope you have learned something new in this today's video. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.